My name is Anthony Bresnikan. I'm a reporter for USA Today, and this is my buddy Sinatra. You can tell from the eyes why we named him that. We adopted him on July 3rd, 2000, and he lived with us for 10 years and 1 month, almost. He died July 27th from cancer, and he was my first pet, and I wrote about the experience for the paper because grief is a hard enough thing to discuss when it comes to a person, but with animals you can be not really sure how to react, though they're often like family members. What I found was that even as they're dying, our animals can change our lives. Sinatra did that for me. I learned a lot about humanity from this little feline. When he was still just a kitten, we also adopted another cat, a stray named Annie. And they got along, but could be feisty with each other, chasing, nudging each other out of the way for treats. They were rivals in good health, but Annie was sick a lot early in her life. I'd catch Sinatra laying beside her, be keeping her warm, or maybe just keeping her company. He'd clean her if she was too weak to do it herself. Like any good big brother, he watched out for his little sis. Once, when she was having a really bad time, fresh from the vet's office, she just wasn't eating the regular food. So I put some tuna out for her, a small snack pack. It was all we had. I knew if anything could get her eating, that would do it. But Annie was hesitant. She was hurting. Sinatra, on the other hand, ran over, thrilled to be getting a treat. And I'd have been glad to give him some, but that was all we had. I figured I'd have to chase him off, but then he did something that I still think was amazing. He sniffed the food, sniffed at Annie, wandered around a bit. He was a vocal cat, so he meowed a few times. Then he turned and walked away. Sinatra was one empathetic cat. He always knew when one of us was sick, and he knew Annie was sick. He also knew that food was for her. Years later, as Sinatra was dying, once the healthy cat, now the sickly one, I put a dish of shrimp out for him. He was near the end, no longer eating or drinking anything on his own. He didn't want it, but Annie did. She's very healthy now, but about as fat as a rolled-up sleeping bag. She ran over to the shrimp, and I saw the same scene play out as years before. She paced around a bit, sniffed at her brother's head, and she just walked away. We had a daughter last August, a little girl named Audrey. Now, Annie is a shy cat, a scurrier, a hider, and for a long time, I don't think she and the baby even knew each other existed. Sinatra was more curious. But babies aren't very gentle. Ears and tails get pulled, fur gets yanked. If I had her wrapped up tight, was holding her, he might decide to steal some attention back and hop up into my arms too. But otherwise, he tended to keep his distance from her. But something changed about a week before he died. We were sitting in the backyard on a picnic blanket one evening, and Sinatra was ailing, but he was still on his feet. He was prowling the yard. He loved his supervised visits to the outside. Then he kind of shocked us by walking up and sitting not beside me, not beside my wife, but sitting down right next to Audrey. Now, she always lit up whenever she saw him, so she was thrilled that he chose her. He sat down and let her reach out and touch his fuzzy little head. We knew he was hurting, so we watched them carefully. We tried to keep her gentle, but Sinatra voluntarily endured all of the inevitable heavy-handedness. I can't really say why, but she was new to the family, and I believe he knew he would soon be leaving it. And before that, he decided to be her cat too. But maybe he was also protecting his little sister, our other cat Annie, one last time, looking out for her just once more before he was gone. Because he left behind a little girl very well schooled in how to pet nicely.